Sometimes life breaks you before it builds you. Sometimes the world pushes you down just to see how strong you'll rise. This is the story of a man who was fired, humiliated, forgotten, and years later returned, not as an employee, but as a billionaire. He walked out of the glass building holding a cardboard box in his hands. Inside it, a coffee mug, some files, and the last pieces of his pride. People stared. Some whispered. Some smiled quietly at his failure. He wasn't a bad employee. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't incompetent. He was simply let go. His access card was taken away. Security walked him out. A career built with sweat, gone in a moment. And as he stood outside, lost, numb, confused, he whispered to himself, "Why me?" Pause. Soft wind sound. But life didn't answer him that day. Instead, life quietly asked, "What will you do now?" Days turned into nights. Nights turned into silent battles. Rejections, disappointment, loneliness. People who once praised him now avoided him. Friends grew distant. Relatives began to gossip. He wasn't good enough. He deserved it. He thought he was smart. Isn't it funny how fast support turns into silence? Bills piled up. Confidence faded. But deep inside, one tiny spark still burned. And one night, staring at the city lights from a rooftop, he made a promise. "I won't let this be my ending." He opened books. He watched lectures. He worked day and night. No fancy office. No investors. No applause. Just a broken man rebuilding himself. He learned coding. He studied business. He worked at a tea stall during the day and built his dreams at night. People laughed at him again. A fired employee selling tea? How low can he go? But the thing about great minds is they don't respond with words. They respond with results, with borrowed money, and an old laptop that overheated every hour. He started a tiny software service. One room, one desk, one dream bigger than his fear. For months, no clients, no calls, no hope. Until one day, an email came. A small business wanted a website. Not a big deal for the world, but for him it was oxygen. He worked for days without sleep, delivered more than expected, and that one job became 10, then 50, slowly. Pain turned into progress, and progress turned into purpose. He didn't get lucky. He got relentless. He hired one person, then 2, then 10. No fancy suits, no big ego, just work, just passion, just grit. Every failure taught him. Every mistake shaped him. Every tear watered the seed of greatness. And years later, Phoenix Tech became one of the fastest-growing companies in the region. One morning, he received a call. A familiar voice. A familiar company. The same company that fired him. They were now struggling. They needed innovation. They needed him. One morning, he received a call. A familiar voice. A familiar company. The same company that fired him. They were now struggling. They needed innovation. They needed him. He walked back into that same building. But this time, people stood up for him. His old manager, the one who once dismissed him, now said softly, "Asha, we never imagined you would rise like this." He smiled. No one imagines a seed becoming a forest. They offered partnership. He offered something else. "I want to buy the company." Silence. Shock. Respect. The same company that fired him. Signed the papers that made him the owner. He didn't come back for revenge. He came back to prove something more powerful. You cannot bury someone who was born to rise. Dear listener, Maybe you're struggling right now. Maybe life pushed you down. Maybe people doubt you. Maybe you doubt yourself. But remember, every champion was once broken. Every dreamer was once doubted. Every winner was once a beginner. Your failure is not your identity. Your rejection is not your ending. Your pain is not your punishment. It is your preparation. Right now, you are not losing. You are learning. You are growing. You are transforming. So rise, fight, believe. Because one day, the same world that ignored you will stand and applaud you. Not because you got lucky, but because you refused to quit. Your time is coming. Your story is not over. This is just the beginning. Subscribe to Willpower Stories, because your healing starts the second you stop running from your truth.